Hello everyone and welcome to the presentation on the topic of differences in language comprehension across age groups with an interaction between sentence construction and verb adversity. My name is Kanatip Jongmikwamsuk and my advisor is Professor Chaipat Chunharat. Today we are going to get through the 5 main topics. In an introduction, we will talk about the cognitive domains and neural network dynamics in healthy aging and how it is applied in Thai language. Second is the objectives of the research. The third is study design and material used in this research. The fourth is data collection. And the fifth is statistical analysis. Language is a means of communication. DSM-5 defines 6 key domains of cognitive function, and each of these has subdomains. Among neurocognitive domains, language is supposed to be correlated with attention, which is the complex attention, working memory in executive function, and long-term memory in learning and memory, as it requires a complex process for comprehension and production. Several studies support that syntactic process is preserved due to compensation of neural network dynamic between language and other cognitive domains. Therefore, various changes of other cognitive domains result in different degree of language decline. In terms of neuroanatomy, it was previously believed that specific area of the brain function for specific language processing due to the study on the patients with stroke. However, language processing uses a network of several brain areas, which may cause changes in cognition decline in different degrees. For example, Broca area also function as a syntax and grammar comprehension, in addition to sentence construction and speech building. This evidence supports that the brain functions as a network with several functions in one area. Therefore, effects of other domains may impact language comprehension at different level and degree. Focusing on the language domain, previous studies on language decline in elderly show that word finding and naming were the first subdomain to decline, while other language subdomains are mostly preserved in healthy aging. However, comprehension is believed to be interfered by sensory function decline, which leads to communication mistakes, even in healthy aging brain. The other subdomains of language are repetition, phonetics and syntax, reading and writing. Going on with the comprehension of language, neurolinguistics classified the level of comprehension into 5 levels. First is phonology, which is the level of sounds. Phonology is concerned with classifying the sounds of the language specifically. Second, morphology, which is the level of words and forms of words, such as prefixes, suffixes, or literary word production, which allow individuals to make lexicon in various forms. The third one is syntax, which is the level of sentences, involve the combination of words and change in form of sentences. Analysis of complex sentence constructions also involved in this level. The most common sentence constructions and only well known are active voice and passive voice counterpart. A large number of studies in several languages suggest that passive sentences are more difficult to understand than active sentences. The fourth level is semantics, which is the main level of meaning, and it is influenced by morphology and syntax. Each component in sentence has its own meaning, but in combination they show one particular direction of meaning. Semantics here means meaning of all kinds. Verb is the key component in the sentences to convey messages, with different actions and tone. Although the difficulty of non-adversative verb, which is either positive or neutral verb, and adversative verb, which is the negative meaning verb, is inconsistent among several previous findings. However, majority show that adversative verb, which is negatives, tend to be more difficult to understand than non-adversative one. And the last level is pragmatics, which is the level of language used in particular situation and intent of language use. Several models of age-related cognitive impairment explain the effects of aging on a variety of language processing. The cognitive decline in aging had asymmetries in lexical processing. The lexical frequency has been taken to be important in the fields, which has an influence from how language is used in the particular situation. The lexical frequency is used to compensate the difficulties in language processing, which allows the elderly to maintain functional communication with difference in performance across individuals. Thai language is unique one. Thai is classified as a subject-verb-object or SVO language due to its consistent base word order at the sentence level. It is an isolated and non-inflectional language with no formal morphological inflections for grammatical categories, such as number, case, tense, aspect, and mood. To be more specific, there is no case marker for subjects or objects. There is no correlation or agreement between a verb and its subjects or objects in terms of person, number, or gender. So Thai, which has a rigid SVO construction, main verbs and their arguments, either subjects or objects, are mostly indicated by their position in the sentence. Like English, the agent or the doer in Thai is in the subject position, and the theme or the object is in the last position in the active sentences. Nevertheless, pragmatically speaking, not every sentence active in Thai can be made to be passive. Only construction in which the verb has unfavorable meanings, for instance, pluck, to push, เตะ to kick, ต่อย to punch, etc., are deemed passive in Thai. On the other hand, for example, the verb เชิญ to invite is non-adversative one, conveying a favorable meaning, The phrase ถูกเชิญ to be invited infers that the theme which is in the subject position is being forced to undergo an action. Passive sentence with adversative verb in Thai are passive bias verb. From the example, these passives are frequently used because Thai language system allow passive construction when it conveys negative unfavorable meaning. However, provided that frequency plays a role in sentence processing, sentences with adversative verb are expected to be relatively spare in Thai healthy aging. Our research question is that how does cognitive aging affect language comprehension in Thai people? In the context of Thai language where adversative verbs are highly used and paired with a passive voice construction, our hypothesis is that younger adults perform better than older ones on measures of accuracy and reaction time, and that performance of passive sentences with adversative verb are more preserved than passive sentences of non-adversative verbs. This slide shows illustrated the conceptual framework showing the details of global cognitive aging and focusing on the language domain, which is associated with attention, executive function, and memory. The domains of language is also impaired by the sensory function in terms of language comprehension. And also lexical frequency and the memory also has an influence on each component of language comprehension. The change in cognitive aging is shown in the downward arrows in the diagram. The primary objectives of this study is to compare the performance of young and old adults and to see the effects of cognitive aging on language comprehension. The secondary objectives is to observe the association between the component of the language of the sentences, which is content construction, verb adversity, and verb type. The study design is observational analytical study to study on the healthy Thai native speaker aged between 18 to 75 years old who volunteer to be participants with the young age of 15 people and old age of 15 people also. The inclusion criteria include the age between 18 to 75 years old and the participants are native Thai speakers. The exclusion criteria are being diagnosed with dementia, presence of language or visual or ordinary auditory impairment, history of severe accidental head and spinal cord injury, history of possible cognitive impairment, history of major psychiatric illnesses, history of psychotropic medication, and history of alcohol and drug abuse. Material used in the study is divided into two parts, which is first, verbal fluency test to test the baseline status of the participants, and second is the picture of the 12 verbs. Each of verb is constructed into 4 types of sentence constructions. For example, the verb จับมือ is constructed into 4 constructions with semantically reversible sentences. For example, แม่จับมือลูก and passive one is ลูกถูกแม่จับมือ and then the other two is semantically reversible sentences which are ลูกจับมือแม่ and passive one is แม่ถูกลูกจับมือ so in total we have 48 sentences in the task. The task is the binary sentence picture matching task, showing the sentence for the participant to comprehend and choose the picture that match the sentences. There are 76 items divided into 48 critical items, which are the 48 sentences that previously mentioned, and 28 filler items. Each participant performed 2 iterations. Here we collect the demographic data, baseline status from verbal fluency tests, and the performance, which are accuracy and reaction time. Then we get the data to analyze using the mean and SEM and mixed effects ANOVA model for group analysis. Then we perform pairwise t-test comparison to compare between sentence construction, active voice and passive voice, between the verb adversity, either adversative verb and non-adversative verb, and between the abstract or concrete verb type. And finally, post hoc analysis will be performed using feature least significant difference. So the take-home question: from the conceptual framework, what are considered the main factors causing difference in cognitive decline between active sentences and passive sentences? So thank you for your listening.